Hello everyone and welcome to one of our video podcasts as part of the Aspen Third Sector Focus for this month. And I'm really super pleased to introduce our next guest here. Bayile and I know each other through our work at Scottish Women in Business. And Bayle's involved in so many other things, including being on boards, that I thought it'd be great for us to have a chat about some of the challenges and issues around attracting people from the BAME community to join boards. But first of all, Bayile, would you like to just say a quick introduction?
Hi, my name is Bayile Adeoti. I'm the Managing Director of a social enterprise called Dechomai. And yes, as Debbie has said, I'm on a few boards all across Scotland.
Okay, well, thanks so much for joining me today, Bayile. I know we've been having a chat for quite some time about, well, as my favourite thing is always women joining boards and how we encourage more women to be involved and to think about it as an opportunity. But something else that comes up time and time again is people from all different kind of backgrounds, and the BAME community is something that I think a lot of organisations struggle with in terms of attracting onto the board. So what are your kind of thoughts around that? What can organisations and charities and third sector organisations in particular do differently?
I think something that I learned over the past year or so was for organisations to have a bigger voice and to connect with organisations like ethnic minority organisations or organisations that deal with the BAME community and promoting what they're offering, as well as also promoting just how to get onto a board. I attended a workshop last year, and it was by an organisation based in England. It was called Getting on Board, and it just taught you what it was like to be a board member, the things that you should look out for. And by the end of I think it was 6 weeks, they gave you different board opportunities. And by the time I'd finished, I was on the board for Scottish Women in Business. So that was a good opportunity for me. But I think even just having that opportunity, and it's something that I've suggested to many people from Black and ethnic communities to say, go on to this course, learn what it's like to be a board member, but then also speak to organisations. Ethnic minority communities are always wondering how decisions are being made and why their voice is not being heard. So to be able to connect one organisation to another and put them together and say, well, let's partner, let's see if we can get some of your service users onto our board, I think that could be a step in the right direction.
Cool, and I think a lot of the work we do at Aspen is with charities and third sector organisations to recruit into those non-exec and trustee positions. And we're always asked, how do we make these opportunities available to Black and ethnic minority groups? And I think at a certain level there's good representation, but it's not across the board. So what do you think the challenge is? Organisations like us, we can reach out to anyone, but what can we do differently, or what do you think our biggest challenge would be in that side of it?
What I would suggest to different organisations is even make a list of at least 10 ethnic minority communities or marginalised communities that you're trying to target, and give them the information to promote. I always say that sometimes it's gutting or heartbreaking to see an opportunity, and I always wonder, how is that opportunity made available? Why did I not hear about it? And I am connected, I do network, I do hear about opportunities, but to not hear about an opportunity and then also to hear that nobody from an ethnic minority background applies for that opportunity is even more heartbreaking. So it is really to connect and network, especially more with grassroots organisations and grassroots community organisations to promote, and even amongst universities. I think with uni students, college students, it's also to inspire them to get onto boards at a very young age, to know that they can also make a difference and be the voice, and just to help things move forward.
Yeah, because I think we have a lot of chat about young trustees who are just trustees. We don't have to call people young trustees the way we wouldn't call someone an old trustee. It's just getting the terminology right for a lot of stuff, I think, without offending people, or without being scared to maybe make a mistake and say the wrong thing. But I think that young trustee, kind of bracket is one of the most interesting. And I was speaking with a client quite recently actually who just couldn't really get their head around why you'd have someone, of that age, maybe someone still in uni or whatever on the board. But once we spoke it through, it was like, yeah, we need to get one of these people on our board right now. How do we do that? So yeah, I think it's a really interesting point. And you've obviously quite recently joined the alumni board with Young Enterprise Scotland, haven't you?
Yes, I love Young Enterprise Scotland. I was part of the company programme at Highland Secondary School, and I just found it really innovative when I was a part of it. And that was many, many years ago. But just to have that opportunity and how to run a business, especially like with your classmates. And I've always followed Young Enterprise, followed their work. And it was just when I saw them advertising for alumni board members, I thought they'd get lots of people jumping at the chance, especially with the work that they do. I think one of the things that I love about being on a board is connecting with the work. It's not just about being on a board, but connecting the work, supporting the work, and wanting to see that develop. So I just thought it was my opportunity to give back and to help the youth that are coming up, just to help inspire them, to help encourage them, and to also help youth from Black and ethnic minority communities see that there are people working with Young Enterprise Scotland of colour that also want to help Young Enterprise Scotland move forward.
I think that's important, isn't it, to kind of put your money where your mouth is a little bit and go out and be that person that people can see, oh, well, if Baile's doing it, maybe I can do it as well, and kind of have that confidence in yourself, and also be that kind of chairperson or spokesperson.
Oh no, definitely. I actually would say to them that if I'm doing it, then you can do it better, because I sometimes feel as if like I'm a swan gliding through situations and underneath I'm kicking frantically. But as you're saying about the new generation, like Gen Z, they know so much more. They've come into technology world and they just adapt to it so quickly, and they're easy, they're more agile than others. So yeah, to have them on a board, to have them with their creative thinking, the innovative thinking, is going to be a benefit to everybody.
Yeah, no, I love when people use that swan analogy, because I think it applies to most people, doesn't it? At least some of the time. Certainly over the last kind of almost couple of years, we're all felt like that at some point, I'm sure. But when you're thinking about board opportunities yourself, or why did you want to be involved in? I get the Young Enterprise Scotland thing, that makes total sense, but maybe Scottish Women in Business, what was it about joining that organisation that you thought, actually, this is one for me, this is something I'm interested in? Because it's an investment of time, isn't it, and energy and all that stuff as well. So what made that a choice for you?
I think for I just look for organisations when it comes to business, when it comes to empowering women, and also organisations that would be looking for role models. So as you had said, and you hit the nail on the head, Debbie, it's always looking for, where can my face be seen so others can be inspired to also join those committees, those boards, but also to show that there's room at the table for everybody, whatever skin colour you are, whatever preference you have, there's room at the table for you. And sometimes you've just got to take that bold step and either nominate yourself to be part of the board, or say, yeah, I think I can do it, and then learn along the way. Scottish Women in Business, I'd attended some of the networking events, and I just love the caliber of women that were on the coffee mornings, even though it was on Zoom. Those women from different backgrounds and working for companies. You don't need to run a business, you just need to be a woman working. And that was the women that we were connecting with and networking with. So I just loved, I guess, their backgrounds, the characters and everything, and just that sense of community. And I just thought, yeah, I'd love to be a part of this and love to steer this organisation forward. And it's not like a new organisation. The history of Scottish Women in Business is an established organisation that I thought it's here for the long term, and I want to be part of that legacy.
And now you're vice president, right?
Now I'm vice president.
The real work starts, because I remember, so you must have joined when I was president, didn't you?
Yes, Debbie,
Yeah.
I joined when you were president.
So I think joining the committee and the board, and then taking that VP step and then the president step, you're like, actually, yeah, there is a difference here. It takes a lot of time, and like I said before, time and energy, and a real kind of connection to what you're doing. So I think there's a message there for anyone who is thinking about joining a board or as a trustee or anything like that, about making an informed choice. Would you agree?
Oh no, definitely. And I think one of the things that I would say is, if you're going to join a board, join it for a cause that you're passionate about. So when you are investing time and energy into it, you're doing something that you love. It's something that is not exhausting you, something that's not draining you, that you're doing it and you're thinking, I love doing this. I would do it for free, which is what you're doing when you're working on a board. You're doing it for free, but you're doing it with passion, commitment, and a desire to help change situations and change people's lives. So it is something that you should not take lightly. It's not, I'm going to join several boards. I've been asked to join other boards over the past few months, and I've looked at my schedule, and I've also looked and thought, am I really the right person for this opportunity? And I've suggested to other people, and maybe they see something that I don't see, or the potential that I have to offer. And I have said to them, why do you want me on your board? But it is, once again, it's come down to time. I look at Scottish Women in Business. I look at Young Enterprise Scotland. I'm also part of the EU and Me Advisory Committee board. So that's enough for my time. That's all I can give.
No, I mean, that's plenty. I'm on 3 boards as well, and I think 3 boards plus a busy job plus a social life, and when we can have one, all those things are really important. And I think there's something about asking a busy person to do something. So I think the more people see you're kind of climbing those board ladders and putting yourself out there, obviously you're going to attract more interest, which is great because they can see all the good work that you're doing. But yeah, I think it's quite easy to say, yes, I'll do this, and yes, I'll do that, and I'll be involved, but you end up kind of maybe not giving everything you can, or giving too much and burning out as well.
Yeah, definitely. And I've got a hyper 4-year-old, so I don't think he doesn't like Zoom calls, so he doesn't want me on another Zoom call.
No, too many Zoom calls as it is, I think. Yeah. Okay, just to kind of finish off then, if there was someone from I guess any background, that's thinking, I really want to join a board, but I'm not sure if I've got anything to give, or I'm not sure who to speak to, or where to go, because I think at Aspen, we've got such a well-established network. We've got all these great people who are very experienced, but what I'm really keen to do is kind of tap into those other areas where maybe haven't done as much work, or we don't know that amount of people. So what are your advice to those people from any kind of background that thinks, I'm not sure if I've got anything to give here?
I would definitely say, try and find somebody who has been on a board for that organization or in the area that you want to be on the board. Speak to them. People are so willing to share information, especially in the third sector. The third sector is the most collaborative sector that you'll ever find. So people are willing to share, and especially when you're joining a board, they'll tell you the things to look out for, time constraints and time commitments that you'll need, and just what's expected of you. And you might think that you don't have anything to offer. You can start as an advisory board member, non-exec, and then just work your way forward. And you will start seeing that you are maybe filling in gaps in places where there is a need, and you'll start seeing that's the place that you should be. And it might not be the first place that you go to, might not be the place that you want to go to, but it still gives you that experience. And whatever you do, do not drop out. Stay committed for the time that you're meant to be there. So if it's 1 year that you committed to, stay committed that 1 year. If it's 2 years, stay committed to 2 years, and you'll find that you will learn so much more, and you'll also grow your network. And that's where other opportunities will come in for you to join other boards, or even to serve in other positions in that committee or board that you get asked to be on.
Yeah, because I think there's quite often that part gets forgotten, but actually it's not about you just giving all the time. You get so much from being on boards, and I personally have got so much more being on a board, because actually you start thinking differently from you do when you're in your day job, and you bring that back to your day job, and it makes you hopefully a more kind of rounded person, and had more experience in total different areas. which we forget to talk about that quite a lot of the time, I think.
So much experience, as you said, even just coming on as Vice President of Scottish Women in Business, just having a look at, when I first came on, I was just looking at it, I guess, from a ground level, and then as a committee member, you get a bit more of a rounded view of being on the committee and also what involves like with the members. But then when you become like a vice president or something, you're getting it from an aerial point of view and you're seeing things at a different level. So it's even just working on those different steps and seeing, and even just going back to the advice, just attend an event for that organization that you want to be on the board. See what they're all about before you commit to anything. It's a try before you buy. So what are their events like? How do they host them? And just take notes. And is that the type of place that you would want to invest your time into?
Perfect. I think that's a perfect note to end on. Thanks again, Bayile, for joining me today. And thanks for all the awesome advice. And I'm sure it'll help a few people out there.
Thank you so much, Debbie.